once again is on. You know what time it is. It's time to play some toss. Welcome everyone to episode 137. That's right, 137 of Toss the Tristain Sports Show. Yeah, it's your main man, T-Square, Tristain Thomas. Again, thank you so much for joining us. This week, we're going to keep it all within the state of Wisconsin. That's why it's an all state of the state episode. We got to talk Green Bay Packers. Preseason is over. Training camp is over. The roster has been cut down. It's time to get to week one action. The Brewers, still in first, but still the same issues. And the Wisconsin Badgers finally starting the Luke Fickell era officially. How did they do in their week one matchup? We'll discuss. But you all know how we get things started here on Toss. We typically get things started with the state of the state, which is this entire episode. So we'll have plenty of time for that. But before we dive in to this week's episode, we have to go through a couple of programming notes. Now, as you all know, we have been on our summer schedule. If you listen to the previous episode a few weeks back, I said that once the NFL season began, we will be back to weekly episodes. And that's exactly what this episode begins. We will be back every single week, unless I say otherwise, because life be lifing sometimes. But we are back. We are no longer on our summer schedule. We are back every single week for you. I know, rejoice, we are back. And with the new NFL season, with the brand new Packers season, comes a brand new season of Packers Quick Toss. That's right, from yours truly and Toss Nation Media. You'll be able to find it on YouTube. You'll be able to find it on our Facebook page. That's facebook.com/TOnSportsShow. Go ahead and look for us on YouTube at Toss Nation Media. We'll also put it on our fan base at T-Squared. Download that app. Think we feel really good about keeping it in those three spots on Facebook, where we have a lot of love. A lot of y'all, get to us through that page. A lot of y'all get to us through our YouTube page. We're going to put it there as well. And we're going to put it on fan base as well, because we're trying to grow that page and give a little bit of different content for you over there as well. So we'll have it in three spots for you. Fan base has been iffy about whether or not it works or not, and we'll figure it all out. But for sure, Facebook.com/TOnSportsShow. And of course, on YouTube, find us at Toss Nation Media. Eventually, it will end up on TossNationMedia.com. But usually, we'll post those about a week staggered. So it'll come on there eventually, in case you missed it and you want to hold me accountable, because some of y'all have done that. We'll put it out there for the world to see on TossNationMedia.com as well. But a brand new season of Packers Quick Toss coming for you. You look for episode 1, week 1 of the new season, probably on Thursday. This upcoming Thursday, what day would that be? That would be, let's see, today is the 4th, Labor Day. Happy Labor Day to everybody. So you're looking at, September 7th? Look for a brand new episode then. We'll try to keep it on Thursdays. Obviously, Packers do have a Thursday game coming up, so that episode won't be dropping on a Thursday. It'll be dropping maybe a Tuesday, maybe a Wednesday. We'll see how I feel. A lot going on with Toss Nation Media, a lot of things to do. But we're back weekly, and a brand new season of Packers Quick Toss is coming up for y'all. Rejoice, Toss Nation Media is buzzing, and we're back. All right, let's get into this episode 137 of Toss. On all state of the state episode, and let's get into that brand new season of the Green Bay Packers, Preseason is over. Training camp is over. 53-man roster has been finalized. Some shocks there, some surprises. Like Anderson, not Carlson. I knew Carlson would make it. But the punter from the XFL, Defenders, who had the best record, just could not close the deal. So some surprises within the roster, some not. Some have been brought back to the practice squad. You'll see them elevated at some point in the future. Whatever the situation pops up for that to happen. But we've made it, and the team has been crafted. There's a lot of, and again, they start off week 1 in Chicago against the Bears, oldest rivalry in sports, adds yet another chapter. And it's kind of exciting because you have 2 young quarterbacks, Justin Fields for the Bears, or Justin Fields, excuse me, forgot the S. Jordan Love for the Green Bay Packers. 2 young quarterbacks. Obviously, Fields saw the field, no pun intended, last season. Extensive playing time. Proved that his legs can be a weapon. Still questions about the arm. We'll see if that has improved. But with Jordan Love, there's all sorts of questions from everyone. And because of the questions at that quarterback spot, it seems as if they have crafted low expectations for this ball team. It almost feels like because Aaron Rodgers is there, that somehow the talent and the health went out the window with this Aaron Rodgers trade. Like he was the be-all, end-all to all of that. Now, for years, on this program, on other people's program, I have said that Rodgers was the great deodorant. He covered up a lot of the stink of this roster. He made guys better. And for many years, he did do that. But over these past few years, he's become wildly inaccurate. Not used to seeing that. The game changed. Could it be age? Could it be the talent that was put around him? Maybe it's a combination of things. Could it just be the fact that he wanted to play his way out of Green Bay? Possibly. Who knows? Now, I'm not here to poo-poo on Aaron Rodgers. Again, I've said it before. I'll say it again. You cannot discredit the things that he's done as a quarterback for the Green Bay Packers. He's one of the great all-time Packers. He's one of the great all-time quarterbacks, one of the greatest throwers of the football in the history of the game, period. You can feel how you feel about him off the field, whatever you feel. But I'm talking just strictly on the field, one of the all-time greats. But it was time for him and the Packers to part ways. It was just absolutely time. It was the same way with Brett Favre. It was just time for them to part ways. But just because they parted ways does not mean that the talent went with Aaron Rodgers. It does not mean that the ability to have good health left with Aaron Rodgers. All those things, some people just crafted low expectations for this team because Rodgers is no longer there. What they tend to forget are a few things, and we're going to go through those things, at least what I feel. Jordan Love, yes, questions about him. He's finally getting the starter reps. That's the only thing he's been missing. What those people who have crafted these low expectations for this team have forgotten is the fact that not only did he sit behind Aaron Rodgers for 3 seasons, he's been within the Matt LaFleur playbook all those years. There's been no change in philosophy. There's been no change in the offense as far as who's running it, who's calling the plays, or anything like that. There's been no big change with that. It has been consistent, and Love has been within that. He has been within that school with Matt LaFleur, learning this playbook. I have absolutely no doubt that Jordan Love knows this playbook front to back, back to front. I have absolutely all the confidence in the world that he knows Matt LaFleur's playbook. The only thing he's missing is starter reps, that ability to know that I'm going to be the starter week in and week out. I'm not going to have to come in and pinch hit because QB1 decided to go and get COVID. I've been vaccinated type thing or whatever he said. I've been immunized. Do spot duty, or it's a blowout, whether it be a good way and a bad way, and I'm coming in for mop-up duty then. Nope, I'm going to be in, week out as QB1. It's my show now. That's the only thing that Jordan Love has been missing. I do not believe the Green Bay Packers draft this kid if he did not have the tools to be an NFL quarterback. You did not spend the type of draft capital on this kid if you did not believe he could come in and become a really good quarterback. I have faith in Jordan Love. I think, are there going to be some learning opportunities? Absolutely. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that he's going to come in and be an instant Pro Bowler. I'm not saying that at all. But what I am saying is that he's got 3 years within this playbook. He knows it. It's just a matter of him going out there, getting reps against number one defenses, all the starters. Getting those starter reps, coming into week, preparing as a starter, playing with the number one offense. If it's one thing that this offense did in the preseason is they put points up on the board. They chewed up yardage and put points on the board. And I know it's preseason and you can't take a whole lot from it, but you can take a little bit from it. Because it's building the foundation for what this team wants to do. Packers ran it extremely well. Passing was pretty good. Love had some really good passing games, and then he had some okay, but type games in the preseason. But he knows this offense. And that's half the battle when you have a new quarterback coming in. They don't really know the offense front to back to front. He knows it. He just has not had the opportunity to go out there and display that on a week-to-week basis. Now he gets that opportunity, and there will be a learning curve. There will be learning opportunities. There will be growing pains, especially with a team that has gone younger. Average age on the Green Bay Packers currently is 25.5 years. This is a young team. They're going to make mistakes. There are going to be growing pains. But the thing is, you get to grow together, and when you grow together, you win together. The only thing Love has been missing is starter reps, and now he's going to get them on a week-to-week basis. He's going to do nothing but get better. I mentioned health. Health is a big deal. The biggest and best ability of a player is availability. I truly and firmly believe that. It does not matter the sport. If you are not available, it does not matter how talented you are. You are doing nothing for this team. It's a harsh reality. And it's not like injury is always people's fault. Sometimes it's chronic and it happens to some people, and it's very, very unfortunate. But you have to have availability. And that was kind of an issue for the Green Bay Packers. Missing guys like Rashawn Gary, Devondre Campbell, Eric Stokes, Romeo Doubs, Christian Watson. These were all guys that you were missing last season. Whether it be for the totality of the season or parts of the season. Now you're getting these guys back. Campbell should be good to go. Gary should be good to go. Stokes is on the PUP list, giving him a little bit extra time to recover. But then he's going to be ready to go. Dobbs is ready to go. Watson is ready to go. Health does nothing but improve the team. That improves your availability, which means it improves the chances for you to go out there and produce, and improves the chances of this team winning. But another thing that I feel will happen with this team, and it has to happen, is a return to form for this defense. Now, this defense, Rodgers was under center, at times carried the squad. 1,000% carried the squad. It kept them in games. It won them games. All statistics show last season that the defense took a giant step back performance-wise. Now, again, you had some injuries, again, with Stokes, with Campbell, with Gary. Big impact players at different levels of the defense. We're all hurt. Now, eventually, you'll have all those guys back again. Stokes is on PUP, so you got to wait a few weeks. But Campbell and Gary, they're back, ready to go. If these guys get back to form when they were winning games and saving games and keeping this team in games, and we all know what Matt LaFleur wants to do. He wants to run that football. You can have a very tough, very physical, smash mouth type football team with game breakers in the receiving core, with Watson, with Dobbs, with Reed in the slot. If Musgrave becomes what we all think he can become, could be another weapon. We'll see how much time he gets. But this team has the makings of a tough defensive ball club. And again, Joe Barry has to call for what the talent he has. He cannot just sit there and think that a soft zone is going to solve all your problems. It caused most of the problems. You can't just hold one of the best cornerbacks in the entire game in Jair Alexander and expect him to play zone most of the time. I understand you don't want to keep putting guys on the island and putting them man-to-man, but if you got the guys to do it like Rasul Douglas and a Ja Money, you need to go and do that because that's what they do best. Press man cover, bump and run. We've been through this before. Even Matt LaFleur said, hey, he does not like guys just sitting so far off the line and you're just giving up first downs and letting these teams leak down the field, and then you're letting this defense be on the field for more minutes than they need to be and tired out, and then all of a sudden you just get ran the hell over. That's why you ended up 8-9 last season. Between the health, between the defensive philosophy of Joe Barry, which this is undoubtedly his last stand. If he does not do the job this season, if he does not do what's necessary and play to the strengths of his team, he's done. And if Matt LaFleur doesn't make the decision, I'm pretty sure Mark Murphy will make the decision for him. So you hope all that comes back to where it had been. The defense returns to form. You hope for good health for Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon, so they can run and play some smash mouth football as one of the better running back duels in all of the NFL. You hope for this line to stay healthy. A very versatile line, a really good line. You hope for Jordan Love to continue to improve as a starter in the National Football League. He knows the playbook. Now you have to go out there and execute, and that is key. Now, am I sitting here telling you that this team is going to win double-digit ball games and make the playoffs? Am I sitting here telling you they're going to make the conference finals and the Super Bowl? Absolutely not. But what I am saying is that this team has a puncher's chance to be in every single game this season. This team is not going to just roll over. Will there be growing pains? Absolutely. Will there be some bad losses? Yep, I think so. Will there be some triumphant wins? Absolutely. This team is not going to be so downtrodden like everyone out there is trying to make it seem. I say they will be in the thick of things. We'll see how things unfold. And again, you can watch my thoughts, my predictions on every single game this season. Packers Quick Toss. Look out for that, typically on Thursdays. Facebook.com/TonSportsShow. On YouTube, @Toss Nation Media. On Fanbase, @T-Squared. Follow the journey. But Packers season beginning with an old rival in the Bears in Chicago. The Jordan Love era begins. I cannot wait. Continuing. Here on Toss, an all state of the state episode, we have to talk about those first place Milwaukee Brewers. Yes, still in first. Still in first. Now, they came into Monday's action, Labor Day. Again, happy Labor Day. Hope you all had a happy and safe Labor Day as we record this program. They were 7-3 over their last 10 games coming into today's action, but they lost to the Pirates 4-2. They're now 6-4 in their last 10 ball games. Have lost their last 2, losing the series finale against the Phillies. They won that series over the weekend, winning Friday night and Saturday night by the same score. Lost Sunday's game. Now they've lost today's game, the first game of the series against the Pirates, 4-2. That 3-game lead has now become, at this current point, as we record this program, a 2.5-game lead over the Cubs. Not great. Not great. Because the Cubs, they got really hot. Then they went on that little swoon. And the Brewers were, at that point, playing okay. Then they played some really good baseball. 9-game winning streak before they lost that game against the Cubs. Subsequently losing that series against the Cubs last week. Ran into some really good pitching. Speaking of good pitching, Freddie Peralta, NL Pitcher of the Month, flawless month of August. Over his last 7 starts, 5-0 with a 1.71 ERA, 69 strikeouts, 10 walks, a .79 whip. He has just been fantastic. This is what we all thought Fastball Freddie could be. Now, we call him Fastball Freddie because, when he was a little bit younger, he's only 27, but when he was a little bit younger, that's predominantly what he would use. But he's got a nice breaking ball. He's mixed it up a little bit better. He's a lot more than Fastball Freddie, but we affectionately know him as that. But he's just been fantastic. But as is the entire pitching staff, they've all been great. Burns continued to do what he does. Big Woo, Brandon Woodruff, back off of injury. He's been doing the damn thing. Wade Miley, back from injury. He really had a pretty good start through 5 against the Phillies on Sunday, and then the wheels just fell off after that. 6th inning, gave up a run. 7th inning, back-to-back home runs, gave up the lead. Crew loses. But overall, pitching staff has been fantastic, but this has just been the story, and it's why it's so frustrating. The pitching staff has given you everything you could possibly want. They have kept you in games. Hell, they have won you games. Because you may manage to scratch across 1 or 2 runs, and they go flawless for the rest of the game, keeping those guys off the board, and you win games that way. But that's the problem. In the Pirates game just today, it really was a microcosm for the entire season. Pitching, doing the job. Offense, not really able to do much. Yeah, they scratched across the 2 runs, but after that 2nd inning, they did squat. And sometimes pitching can only do so much. They're only going to keep those guys who are also major league hitters off the board. Only so long they're going to be able to do that before they start figuring it out and start mashing the ball. And that's exactly what happened. This game, this 4-2 loss to the Pirates, a microcosm for what's been happening all season long. It's what worries me if the Crew makes postseason. It really does worry me the most because I know postseason, everything is just brighter. Pressure is higher. More of a focus on pitching and defense and timely hitting. And yeah, within that 9-game winning streak, and as of late, the Crew have been able to get some timely hits. The pitching has been fantastic, as it has been pretty much all season long. But in the postseason, when you're facing the absolute best of the best, these guys starters, the best of the absolute best, are you going to be able to scratch across enough runs? Are you going to be able to keep those guys off the board in order to win and advance? And I just don't know. We've seen how they've performed against the Dodgers. We've seen how they've performed against the Braves. Not great. So it worries me. It continues to worry me. And I'm going to continue to say this until we see some actual change. After this season, and you go into the offseason, you cannot come into the next season with the same offensive philosophy. Can't do it, cannot do it, but I bet money they'll do it. Because of this reason right here. A 76-61 record, first place in your division, every opportunity to win your division and make postseason. This is why I feel Mark Antonaggio has become the new Herb Cole, because he cares about division championships and making the playoffs. Not even division championships, just making the playoffs and nothing else. Could not care about winning and advancing, could not care about getting to the World Series. Just get in to the playoffs by any means necessary. We're going to spend as little money as possible to do so, which means we have to get some of the worst hitters who might run into 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5. To get us enough runs to win games to be able to get to the postseason. But once postseason hits, you have nothing to win in advance. Not offensively. And you're not going to have this collection of pitching much longer. So it just worries me every single time. Brewers get into a groove and you think, okay, maybe this is what they can be. Maybe this is what they are. And then they go into a swoon and it's like, yep, there it is. That's what they are. That's what happens when you have a collection of barely over 200 hitters. This is what happens. So in a groove, they've been getting some timely hitting as of late. Lost their last 2. Lead has shrunk down to 2.5 games over the Cubs for the NL Central. They may win the division. They may not. They may end up as a wild card. Who knows? But this offense continues to be the biggest worry I have about this squad. Continuing here on Toss State of the State, we got to talk about Wisconsin Badgers football. Yes, their season began this past Saturday against Buffalo, a 38-17 victory. A lot was made about, okay, you know, we're not really going to worry about the defense. We think the defense will be good. I mean, that's what Luke Fickell is here for. He's got that defensive mind. What are we going to do offensively? Well, they brought the air raid. Now, I have not made my feelings known about the air raid, but I'll make them known here. I'm not a big fan. It is a college thing. It is something that you could get away with in college, not really in the pros. And you have to have the personnel to really block for it and to really play it. You have to have guys with speed to take short passes and be able to pop the top off the defense and be the distraction so you can get the catches underneath and make the yardage. And there's so much that goes into it. Yeah, you know, you spread the defenses out and all that, and you have the ball flying all over the place. Okay, great, cool. But this team's bread and butter is the run game. But let's get back to the air raid for a minute. The air raid was air whack. It was uninspiring. It was not fun to watch. I don't enjoy watching wide open touchdowns get dropped, so that definitely didn't help. But Mordecai was not inspiring. Yeah, you look at the accuracy numbers, 24 of 31. That's fantastic accuracy. But only went for 189 yards. threw a touchdown that he did, but he also threw two picks. And a lot of it was his own doing. They were just terrible throws. One of them, you didn't even see the linebacker right there. What were you thinking? Caused a lot of pressure on himself with his happy feet. He just had to keep moving his feet and he couldn't set and throw. Threw the ball late a bunch. Got away with it a bunch, but there were times where he did not, though, and that's where those two picks came from. Or at least one of them. That's where one of them came from. The other one, he just plain and simply did not see the linebacker right there. But the air raid was air whack. Tanner Mordecai was just not great on Saturday. Was absolutely not happy with the way he played on Saturday. It was very uninspiring. I said on Twitter, X, at the20double on X, that they need to take the ball out of Mordecai's hands in the second half and get back to running the football, because that is the bread and butter of Wisconsin football. Get the ball to Allen, let him run with it. But they did more than give the ball to Allen. Ches Malusi, my goodness. In that second half, 89-yard house call. His day was 13 carries, 157 yards, 2 touchdowns. Again, that 89-yard touchdown run, which was just amazing. Gave the ball to Braylon Allen, 17 carries, 144 yards, 2 touchdowns of his own. I believe he had a few more catches for about 25 yards or so. That is your bread and butter. This is what this particular team is built to do. Eventually, Fickell will get his guys in to run the air raid. But this team is built to run the football. This is the tradition of Wisconsin football. You have to be able to run, especially in the Big Ten. You've got to be able to run that football. You get a lot of rock'em sock'em games with some tough defenses. You got to be able to run that football. If your air raid works and you get a big league against an Ohio State or something, and they're trying to play catch up, they're throwing the ball over the yard and all that, but you want to slow the game down so you don't give them that many possessions to be able to catch up, you got to be able to do that. Defense was pretty good. Again, only gave up 17. But that air raid needs a lot of work. And until it's able to run with great fluidity, you've got to do what this team is built to do, which is run the football. If you cannot run the football in the Big Ten, you're going to be in trouble. If you can throw the football in the Big Ten, well, you have a great advantage if you can also run it. It's just what it is in the Big Ten. It's just what it is in college. Slow the game down. If you're Wisconsin, do not give them a lot of possessions. It sounds a lot like Wisconsin basketball. with that swing offense and that grinding defense of Greg Gard. Don't give the other team too many possessions. You take your time on your offensive possessions and you make sure you get good scoring opportunities and you score the basketball, get back, play some tough defense. It's a lot like what Wisconsin in football has to do. Well, Luke Fickell has to take stock of his team like, yep, there's room for improvement. We need to do some things with this air raid, and Tanner Mordecai has to make some better decisions. And, we need to make sure that we're able to catch the football, not look at the end zone before we look the ball in. But we also have to be smart here and understand that our team is built to run because of the guys that were already here. It's what they were brought in for. We have to be able to run the football, and that's going to open up things for the passing game. If you can run consistently, that's just going to be able to open things up Hopefully things slow down for Mordecai. He makes better decisions, get the ball out a little bit earlier. And again, I'm not dumping on the guy, but his week 1 performance was just not great. That's why they turned around and they started running that football. So room for improvement, as there always is with anything. 1-0. That's a big thing that matters. And you have time to improve. I'm pretty sure Coach Fickell is already laying into those guys about that, already gone through it, already installing the game plan for week 2. A pretty decent first step, but again, a lot more work to do. Well, y'all, that'll do it for me. That was episode 137 of Toss Tristain Sports Show. You know where to find me on social media. On X at the20double, at fanbase.com, at T Squared, YouTube, Toss Nation Media, Facebook.com/T on Sports Show, your home for the Toss brand of sports on Facebook. Touching a lot of things there that we don't necessarily get a chance to here on this program. That's Facebook.com/T on Sports Show. That's TON Sports Show. And of course, Toss Nation Media with the return of the Fallout, the Packers blog after Packer games. That's TossNationMedia.com, your home, Toss brand of sports. Truthful, opinionated, passionate sports. That's what you deserve. But as I said before, it's time for me to get on up out of here. It's the T Squared, Tristan Thomas, reminding you to keep it moving forward. Always forward. Forward always. Until next week, so long from Toss.